What if the universe, in all its vast, silent expanse, is doing something more than just expanding? What if, on some fundamental level, it's constantly proofreading itself?
It's a strange thought, right? But it comes from a very real and, frankly, bizarre discovery buried deep inside the mathematics of our reality. It's a discovery that asks us to rethink, well, everything we think we know about the cosmos. So, where does this wild idea even come from? Well, our story begins not with a telescope, but with a set of equations so incredibly complex, they literally had to be drawn to be understood. So back in 2010, physicist S. James Gates Jr. was deep in the weeds of string theory, specifically this idea called supersymmetry, and he hit a mathematical wall. The equations were just too much. So, to try and get a handle on them, he started sketching them out. And what he found staring back at him wasn't chaos, it was a stunningly organized geometric code. He called these symbols Adrinkas. You can think of them like blueprints for reality itself, where every dot is a fundamental particle, and the lines connecting them are the rules, the forces that govern them. It's like we're looking at a visual representation of the universe's source code. And this is where things take a really sharp turn into what sounds like pure science fiction. Because when Gates and his team analyzed the structure of these Adrinkas, they found something that just, well, it didn't seem to belong in physics at all. Okay, so on one side, we've got the math of the universe, these Adrinkas. On the other side, we have the math that your web browser uses. And the shocking part? They're the same. The universe appears to be using the exact same kind of error-correcting code that our own technology uses to keep itself from crashing. This discovery became one of the strongest arguments ever for the simulation hypothesis. The logic kind of goes like this. Space isn't empty. It's filled with this chaotic fizz called quantum foam, tiny particles constantly blinking in and out of existence. Now, this constant noise should, over 13.8 billion years, corrupt the basic laws of our universe. But it doesn't. An electron's charge is the same today as it was at the dawn of time. So why? This theory suggests it's because the Adrinkas are constantly running a diagnostic, correcting errors to keep the whole system stable. But an operating system implies an operator. A code implies a coder. And that's a pretty complicated explanation. So what if we apply Occam's razor? You know, the principle that the simplest solution is often the best one? This leads us to a really fascinating alternative. What if this thing that looks like code isn't software at all, but just geometry, doing what geometry does best? What if it's a fundamental property of the universe, not a program running on it? I mean, think about a snowflake. Its intricate, beautiful pattern isn't written in some computer code. It's just the natural result of water molecules finding their most energy-efficient arrangement. It's not a program, it's just nature's own geometry at work. Or what about a gyroscope? If you poke it, introduce an error, it doesn't just fall over. It wobbles, for sure, but then it rights itself. There's no software patch running. It's stabilized by a fundamental law of physics, the conservation of angular momentum. It seems nature has its own ways of self-correcting. And this brings us to a new, and I think maybe a more elegant theory. One that reframes those error-correcting codes not as software, but as the fundamental structure of reality itself. This table really shows the shift in thinking. What we first saw as an error-correcting code might just be the natural rigidity of a crystal lattice. A bug in the system isn't a digital error, it's a physical crack. And the programmer? That's just the laws of physics, always seeking the simplest, lowest energy state. So in this view, the universe is a kind of hyperdimensional crystal. Its laws are stable not because they're being constantly debugged, but because they're part of an incredibly robust geometric structure. It survived for billions of years for the exact same reason a diamond is hard: pure geometric rigidity. Now, here's the best part. This is more than just a beautiful idea. The Crystaline universe model actually makes specific, testable predictions. This isn't just philosophy, it's a path to real experimental proof. So how would we test this? Well, we can look for tiny delays in gamma rays from distant explosions, a sign that they're traveling through a crystal-like space. We can search for energy that seems to just disappear at the Large Hadron Collider, as if it's leaking through a crack. We can even check to see if light gets twisted as it passes through strange anomalies out in the cosmos. Any one of these experiments could be the smoking gun that proves we're living inside a crystalline universe. And that's the profound shift in perspective. The whole mystery of some cosmic programmer just vanishes. In its place is a universe that is inherently stable, robust, and ordered, all on its own.
It's not artificial, it's natural. So we're left with this incredible thought. We might be living inside a structure of unimaginable strength and beauty, not a simulation, but a crystal. And with the tools we are building today, we might just be the first generation capable of finding the proof, of seeing that first subtle flaw in the diamond.